Hey ladies, here just making a new video for you. This is the 1930s to the 1940s. I'm going to be mostly doing a 1940s look, but right now I'm just putting on my foundation to get a base. You can tell my eyes were a bit red today, but it happens. So making sure I get that in there nice and good. I will warn you ahead of time, it cuts out a few times in the video. I was having phone issues, so but you will see some interesting things. Palette number 3 is what I'm going to be using for my eyeshadow. In the 1930s, they started getting into blues, greens, and purples more, and they were doing a little bit of a lighter color. Also interesting to know is that this is when they really started using contour and highlighting. 1930s is when Hollywood makeup started coming into the household and more people started doing, more of the fine-tuning of makeup. So they learned how to use more colors, how to get their eyes to look a little bit deeper, and that's what I'm going to use right now. I'll use Smitten on the top, and then I can't even remember. Oh, Flippant on my lid, and I can't remember the dark color, but it's in palette number 3, so it was really great. These are actually like my favorite colors. I love purple. They took it out a little bit farther than normal to give their eyes more depth. So you see me taking out past my eye a little bit more. They kept it really light this time. Now, this is the first time you're going to see me actually penciling in my brows. 30s, their brows were still very thin. 40s is when it became thick and very much of an arch. So I am trying to pull that off because I can't pull the thin eyebrows off, but I can pull the thick eyebrows off. And you will see my face because it blows me away on how thick they are. See that? But in the end, I really did love them, actually. I will have to tell you. I am definitely going to be using eyebrow products way more with our pencil and our gel. I've used the gel since it came out. I actually really like it a lot. I didn't think I would just because my eyebrows are already so dark. But when you are using eye makeup or highlighting certain areas, getting those brows to look, solid almost without them looking solid is a great way to bring out your eyes even more. But see my shock, I feel really dorky at this point. But I do fix them a bit when it clips out. I just kind of take it in a little bit in the middle there because I put it out a little bit too far. The rest of it I left. But it doesn't really come all together until I put the eyeliner on. Instead of using gel or anything, they didn't have the eyebrow products we do. They did have the liner, and they would use, light browns or browns. Liner came out, and it became a huge thing. And so, but to make their eyebrows look shiny, they would actually use petroleum jelly and put a little bit on there. Having that glow was a big thing back then. That's where my phone cut out. I'm putting on the liquid eyeliner. They actually used grays a lot more than black, but I don't have any gray right now, so I'm going to go ahead and use black. And wing was definitely a big thing then. It was in the 30s, but, just a small wing was what they usually did. You would see actresses use a much bigger one, of course, and I am a huge fan of the wing look. Oh, and it jumped out again. So, I got the winged eyeliner on. I just did a very, very small wing. Now I am doing the tight line, which they call it, and you're going to see me poke my eye, and my eye gets all watery, because I am awesome that way. But this way is actually way, way better. So I will be doing it from now on. But it gives it a huge difference. You don't, really notice when people are doing that line, but I thought it was a huge difference, and I liked it a lot. It made it look like I had much darker lashes, and I don't even have any mascara on yet. So, big thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a concealer. FYI, put concealer on after your foundation. That's actually how you're supposed to use it. A lot of people don't know that. This is the highlighting areas that I'm going to do. And I was so happy with how it turned out this time. And I just put a little bit on my hand so that I could use my brush. I actually really like using a brush for it. I'm sure I'm using the wrong one, but hey, it works, so I do it. I like to take it down by the sides of my lips more than most people do, just, I don't know, because I'm weird that way, I guess. Blending Bud, oh my gosh, best friend. So, I love this thing. It makes it so the extra product that I put on, because sometimes I do that, comes off, but it blends it so well. If you don't have a blending bud, you have to get one. You just get them wet and then squeeze them out and so that they're damp, and they are just amazing. I love it. Okay, clip jumped out again. So, I got it all blended, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the contour, which is the darker part of it. I'm just going to use this light brown that I have. And cheekbones were a huge, huge deal in the 30s and 40s. They wanted it very, very sharp. So you see me putting that line there and then blending up. They wanted them sharp. So that is what I went ahead and did. I really actually like that color, so I still need to get my BB cream because it's going to be amazing to contour and highlight with. Always underneath the lip a little bit, makes your bottom lip look bigger, down the sides of your nose, and then up across your forehead. I just do a little bit on my forehead because I always have my bangs, so I don't really need to do it too much. On my jawbone to make it look sharp as well. I already have a very sharp jawbone, but you know, if you're going to do the makeup, you might as well go all out. And then the pressed powder. Now, they always wanted a healthy glow. They didn't want the matte look as much as they did in the 20s. 30s was still very much a matte look, but not so much in the 40s. So I went ahead and just did a little bit of powder. Pale was still very, very much in, and they wanted flawless skin. So that is why I actually put on so much contour and highlighting to go ahead and get my skin as even as possible. I think I put on blush already, as you saw. I just did a light color. Blush became way lighter than it was in the 30s. They used it a lot less. And then I also just highlighted the tops of my cheekbones. Now we're going to go for the mascara, of course. And lashes became a huge deal. You know, they already had mascara, but lashes, false lashes, actually became a big deal in the 30s. And so 40s was a big thing. And then they, you know, usually it was just movie stars or actresses or whatever that would use them, performers and that kind of thing. But it became a household item. It died off in the 40s, I believe. And then it came back, I believe, in the 50s. And so false lashes were a big deal. They would have probably flipped over a 3D mascara. Way easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there. They were very much about having your lashes fanned out and as wide as possible. So they didn't like them, you know, clumped up or anything like that. They wanted them fanning. Huge. And of course, remember, it is gel, fibers, gel. So you see me go on with the gel, and then the fibers, and then go to the other eye and do the gel, and then the fibers, and then go back and do the first eye with gel again. And then back to the second eye with gel. Bottom lashes became huge. They made sure that they were covered and looking good. They really wanted those bottom lashes to poke out. Previous years they didn't. It wasn't as a big deal, but bottom lashes were a big deal. That's why you see me putting so much emphasis on them. Now, we're going to do a little trick that they used to do in the 40s. I told you about how they wanted their lashes to fan out so much. So they would actually shadow right next to their eye, just a little bit. And so that's what I'm doing, and I'm just using the color Irate from Shadow Palette, or Addiction Palette number 3. And so it looks like there's a bit of a shadow there, and they're fanning out a bit more, and I actually really love it. Now, of course, we're back to lips, and lips were still a huge thing with the bright colors. They used a bit more color, but still, it was definitely a red. They loved the red lips. And instead of the Cupid's bow, like in the 20s, it was called the rose for these lips. They were very round. They didn't want any sharp edges, so I know it looks really dorky right now, but they actually went out of the natural lip line on the top lip. And so you'll see me doing that, and it kind of looks dorky. In pictures, I love it, but in person, it looks dorky. I will say that. But I do love the look as a whole, like, really, really in love with it. And then, of course, they still loved the matte look. They didn't like the shiny lips, so they would always blot their lips to try and get more of a matte look. That is why you see me blotting them. And that is the 1930s to 1940s